I'm Christine Cockburn, CEO of Rare Cancers Australia, and I'm here today talking with Lillian Leigh. We're going to tell you a little bit about the Rare and Less Common Cancer Optimal Care Pathway, which we're currently commissioned by Cancer Australia to develop under the Australian Cancer Plan. The optimal care pathways are a critical part of equity in cancer outcomes, making sure that everyone who has a rare or less common cancer gets a similar level of care and has a best opportunity to have better outcomes. Lillian joins me today. She's the co-chair of the expert working group. Welcome, Lillian. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Christine. So my name's Lillian Leigh. I am a lawyer, a non-executive director, and also a cancer patient. So I've lived with a rare type of lung cancer since 2014, and I'm very pleased to be here.
Lillian, can you explain a little bit to people who are watching who may not know what an optimal care pathway is and why it's important?
The reason why it's important is because it serves a few different purposes. One is that by providing what is best practice, we're trying to reduce disparities in care. So by standardising what is optimal care, all patients, regardless of where you live or who you are, will be able to access timely, coordinated, high-quality care.
I think the thing about the optimal care pathway for rare and less common that really excites me is that, as you quite rightly say, there is a huge variation of the type of care and management that people with rare cancers have, don't they? And having it documented of what an optimal experience looks like means that, as you quite rightly say, no matter where you are or who your clinician is or what your rare diagnosis is, it's laid out what is best practice.
Correct. And I think what's really exciting is that it's also a tool for patients. So patients can refer to this resource and understand what to expect at different stages, and also provides the resource to help them ask questions so that they can receive the best care that they self-advocate for their best care.
I think that's great. You know, at Rare Cancers Australia, we talk a lot about people being diagnosed with cancer and then becoming part of the care team and participating in shared decision making and such. So for them to be able to understand what best care looks like in a document that's especially designed to be understood by anybody means that they really are a participant in their own management. I think that's a really great part of the optimal care pathway as well. Yeah. Why did you agree to co-chair the expert working group with Professor Claire Scott when we asked you to, Lily?
Look, I think there are a few reasons. Actually, a few thoughts came to my mind when I was invited. I think the first one was how critical this tool is for rare and less common cancer patients. The second thought was how incredible it was that Rare Cancers Australia asked a patient to co-chair the expert working group.
The first time.
For the first time ever.
Yeah.
And the third thought was just how mammoth this task is and what a huge challenge it is. And, you know, I have always known that rare cancers and less common cancers don't have great outcomes in Australia. A third of all cancer deaths is due to rare and less common cancers. And the disparities between care, you know, I've lived with a rare cancer now for over a decade. And in that time, you know, I've personally experienced challenges, but I've also heard a lot of stories from a lot of different patients. Some people tell me stories that I think is very uplifting, and I get a sense of, you know, just what great practice, great care looks like. But then there are some really heartbreaking stories, and, you know, I think that disparity needs to be addressed, and I think the OCP can bridge that gap. So that's one reason why I agreed, and I think, you know, the opportunity to work with Claire, Professor Claire Scott, was it was something that I couldn't pass up. Her and she and a lot of amazing experts in this area. It's such a great opportunity to work with them.
It's a great opportunity for all of us to be working with you, certainly, and Claire. Can you tell us a little bit about who's on the working group? Who are our experts that are guiding the rare and less common OCP?
Sure. So we have 3 other patient advocates, as well as myself, which I think is incredible. We have people represented from nursing, medical oncology, radiation oncology, surgical oncology, primary care, supportive care, pathology, research, just across the disciplines. But I think more importantly, regions are represented. So we've got most of the states and territories, we've got people from metropolitan areas as well as regional areas. I think the diversity of this working group enables us to have robust debates to make sure that at the end of the day, what we decide is optimal, is truly optimal from the perspectives of both safety and outcomes for patients.
So we're asking people to participate and to tell us their views on the different aspects of the trajectory of a rare cancer.
I think it's really important that we get as many views as we can, because there are hundreds of rare and less common cancers. While we have a fantastic expert working group, we can't possibly cover all of the views, and it's important that the community participates in this, whether you're a health professional or you're a person who's affected by that cancer, that you give your feedback so that we can take that into account when we develop this tool.
I think that's right. It's particularly complicated, this optimal care pathway, because of the number of diseases. And I know that's been a subject of much conversation in the expert working group. How on earth do we make a pathway for all these different diseases? And what we're doing, I think you're doing in that group, which I find really exciting, is finding those commonalities and what best practice looks like if you have a disease that we don't know very much about. And I think that's really exciting. And I hope that, sometime in the future that we can really see the impact of what it looks like when we've got a level playing field with regards to care. So, Lillian, what do you hope to see at the end of the development of this optimal care pathway?
I want to see that at the end of the day, no matter where you are, who you are, that every patient who is diagnosed with rare and less common cancer gets the best possible care in Australia. I want to see a health system that is consistent and efficient and meets the unique needs of patients in this group, that ultimately I want people with rare and less common cancers to have improved survival and the best quality of life that they can possibly have.
Thanks, Lillian. I think that's the dream of developing these policy pieces, isn't it? That we can try to remove a lot of the inequity that exists for people with rare and less common cancers, and this is a really important step. And all the more rich for your being involved and helping to shape this piece of work. Thank you so much for being involved, and thank you for joining me to help people understand what this document is, what the optimal care pathway is, and why it's important. So to follow along with the optimal care pathway development over the next few months, please visit rarecancers.org.au, Driving Change tab, and you'll see the optimal care pathway there on the website. And you can see more about where we're up to with the optimal care pathway and the type of work that's going into it that you can contribute to. Healthcare professionals, as Lillian said, those with a lived experience, all perspectives are very, very welcome. So thanks for helping us to build out the OCP. And thank you, Lillian.
Thank you, Christine.